Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is my 0 to 4 week pregnancy update. I am technically 4 weeks and 5 days today, and I wanted to film this before time gets along too far. If you're excited to look for the signs of pregnancy, feel more on top of your game in the trying to conceive journey and all other pregnancy related stuff, subscribe to my channel right now and click the bell so you don't miss anything. Just a little disclaimer for this video, it is going to be a little TMI, so if you are not trying to conceive or not interested in hearing about pregnancy related stuff, be sure to click off right now before I get into the video. Let's get to the good stuff, the symptoms. Everyone wants to know that when you're trying to conceive and you want to look for those symptoms to kind of guess at if you are pregnant or not. It's super exciting. And so I want to film this video for you because these are going to be some very early symptoms that you will find that you have potentially if you are pregnant. So if you're excited for this video, be sure to give it a like right now. Show me your support. It really helps out my channel and I appreciate it so much. If you're really taking the trying to conceive journey seriously, you may be tracking your ovulation. So if you know when you ovulated, you'll know then that DPO means days past ovulation. So I'm going to refer to that in this video so that you understand the timing of what happened. I ovulated on January 12th is what we thought. And based on my OPKs, approximately say 5 to 7 days after that, I noticed I felt some cramps coming on, just very low, very slight. I typically don't get cramps since having Reed during my period. So this was strange, and I thought, well, maybe something's going on. So that was a few days after, and basically 8 DPO, 8 days past ovulation, I felt that the cramps were a little different. I can't really explain what was different, but I think now looking back it was implantation, because when I went to the bathroom that day, when I wiped, I noticed that there was a slight bit of like a brown color to it, so slight that if you weren't looking you would not even catch it. And not every woman has implantation spotting, so it's not something to be concerned about if you haven't noticed that. I think 1 in 3 or 4 women even have that. So it's not something that necessarily, if you don't have, indicates you aren't pregnant. You definitely can be pregnant without having that symptom. A little info about implantation. It happens around 6 to 12 days after you ovulate, and usually it happens around day 8, 9, or 10, at the average being 9. If you know when you ovulated, look then for when you would be having implantation. Count those days past that, count to about 9 days, and during maybe 8, 9, and 10, start seeing if you feel anything different, because that will be a good indicator as to whether maybe you are pregnant. And after implantation, I definitely still had cramps. They just kept going. There was a heavy feeling in my belly, lower belly, and it just every day, every night, I would have cramps. So it was just kind of a constant thing. The second symptom that I noticed was my boobs began to get very sore about a week after I ovulated, maybe even a couple days earlier. So, and at first it wasn't really noticeable, but as it went on, they definitely felt more sore. And now that I'm past that 4-week mark, they are very sore. Not uncomfortable to the point of being really like annoyed, but definitely you can tell there's something different. And typically before your period, your boobs will get sore because of the rise in progesterone during that time. But typically for me, they wouldn't be sore to the extent that they were that I noticed, and that clued me on to maybe I was pregnant.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt, but if you like what you see so far, why don't you consider subscribing to my channel? It's free and it's fun, and you can join us and you won't miss out on any of my future uploads.
And then as I got closer to 13 DPO, I knew that that was the day of my missed period. If I was pregnant, I would miss it. And so I knew that I could probably test then and have a pretty accurate reading. I know a lot of people test earlier, but I had these few symptoms. It wasn't a lot. I did have one day, I don't even remember when it was, maybe a week after I ovulated, that I was slightly nauseous, but it was just literally maybe 2 minutes. So I didn't really think much of that, but it was definitely the cramps and the sore boobs that was an indicator to me that maybe I was. And so then I tested on 13 DPO, and sure enough, a very dark line came up. Oh my gosh, guys, you see that? That is so dark. So pregnant. So I got my BFP, my big fat positive, on 13 DPO, and I would suggest that you hold out and wait, because I know a lot of times I'm a part of a lot of groups on Facebook about trying to conceive, And this was our first month trying for our second baby, so we were very fortunate to get pregnant right away. But I noticed that everyone tests so early and they barely can see the line, and then they get nervous about it. So don't stress yourself out. Just wait a little while and test on the day of your missed period at least, so then you have a more accurate reading. So far, since getting the BFP, which was a week ago, I ended up feeling some different symptoms going on. My boobs are still sore and I still have occasional cramps, so more so at night, so definitely watch for that, maybe around the 3-week mark of pregnancy. So one of the things I've noticed that's really recent has been some occasional nausea, probably around 4 weeks. So I'm 4 weeks and 5 days right now, and actually this morning even I got a little nauseous upon getting up. So you're going to want to eat crackers, stuff like that, to just settle your stomach. Don't take your prenatal vitamin without eating something first. And the other thing I noticed as I approached 4 weeks was my boobs around the nipple started to get darker. So that's a very common sign of pregnancy. That is an easy thing to tell, but that was after the BFP. So something that I think is really important to mention is when you take that pregnancy test, so if you're symptom spotting right now and you're watching this video and you're trying to see the signs of pregnancy and you had some similar things maybe that I had, be sure when you take that pregnancy test, don't continue to test for days and days after that. Although you want to confirm that you are pregnant, all you need to know to confirm is that one test. Because what happens is the HCG, which is the hormone that your body produces when you're pregnant, it builds and builds on itself each day. It like doubles in amount. And so what happens is these early result pregnancy tests, they are not able to pick up high amounts of HCG. So the more you test, when it gets higher in your body, the result is going to get to be a line that's lighter in color, not darker. And then you're going to worry yourself and think you're not pregnant or you're miscarrying when really you're not. This is just how these tests are made. So test once, know you're pregnant, and let it go. And just so you know what to expect, most healthcare providers will not want to see you until about 8 weeks of pregnancy unless you have a history of maybe a lot of miscarriages or something like that. But otherwise, they don't want to see you until they can detect a heartbeat. And they can detect it a little better, more like at 8 weeks, although the baby has a heartbeat as early, I think, as 5 to 6 weeks. So just give it some time. Make sure you call and schedule that appointment. But these are just some early symptoms that I noticed. My 0 to 4 week pregnancy update, I felt really good so far. I've been very happy and on top of my game as far as this whole pregnancy so far. And I'm just waiting for the nausea to kick in because I know that's what happened with Reed, but I have heard it's on a pregnancy by pregnancy basis. You might not have the same symptoms as you did the first for the second. So now be sure to go watch my earliest pregnancy sign, guys. This was crazy and I didn't touch on it in this video. I want you to go watch the other video about it because it was fantastic how I knew that I was pregnant, literally 1 DPO. And I know this isn't talked about very much, but I'm a firm believer in thinking that this was a sign because I did end up pregnant and this was my earliest pregnancy symptom before even implantation. So go watch that video. It's going to be on the next slide over, and be sure to subscribe to my channel because you're going to want to watch the whole pregnancy journey from the start. I have a lot more videos planned on how to help you through each trimester and how to be on top of your pregnancy game. All right, thanks guys. Be sure to give it a like and comment down below what your pregnancy symptoms are right now. Maybe we can figure it out together and see if you're pregnant.